Hi guys.
Hi guys. You're welcome to another episode of the Showbiz Campus Masterclasses.
Hey guys, you're welcome back to another episode of the Showbiz Campus Masterclasses. And I'm super excited for this episode. And you'll find out why in a second. But I'm sure if you had to guess, who's sitting beside me, you probably wouldn't. So don't even bother trying to guess. But I have with me the very amazing, very talented Aproko doctor.
Yay!
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm so glad that we're doing this.
Yeah.
For many reasons.
Yes, we are.
But
inside joke.
Yeah, inside joke. But first thing would be for people who don't know. I mean, I guess most people who follow you probably know this, but for someone who just stumbles on this video, tell us what your real name is, because of course your real name is not Aproko Doctor.
Okay, my name is Chinonso Egemba. Middle name Fidelis. You could already tell there's some Catholic background going on in
Obviously.
there. Yes, even though the Igbo people call it Fide. And that's I'm a medical doctor, licensed to practice in Nigeria for now.
Yeah.
And first of 3 siblings. Yeah. Is that the way it is? That's the way it's said. Yes, first of 3.
First of 3 siblings. Yeah, it means you're the oldest.
Yes.
Don't worry,
yeah.
you still understand English.
Yeah,
I guess my next question is how did you always want to be a doctor? Wait, before I ask you that, how did you come up with Aproko Doctor? I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer, but I still want to hear the story.
So, the funny thing was, when I realized what I was trying to do, I knew I was in a field where attention was currency, right? I was battling for the attention of people. And I wasn't battling with the attention of people who were quote unquote interested in what I wanted to say.
Of course.
Because it's digital media. People are more interested in watching cat videos and dog videos and somebody making a skit here and there. And nobody goes online to start searching for why is there pus coming out of my hand until a person has that problem.
Until it happens.
And so medical doctors before now have always been kind of not in touch with their clients. Let me use the word clients. There's a desk when you get to a doctor's office. There's a desk separating you from the doctor.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to come off as someone who was their guy.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so Aproko Doctor. Which basically means the doctor who doesn't mind his
own
business.
business.
Yeah, so
Well, it's your doctor's job to mind your business
exactly.
anyway.
So it was a doctor who was always choking his mouth in your business. And I guess it took a lot of attention because people were like, why is somebody naming himself Aproko Doctor? And the first thing that even occurs to them is, first, they don't think I'm a doctor. And then when they now tune in and like, he's actually saying medical things with... maybe he's Googling it. And then they leave with that. And sometimes they come back and they say things like, when they meet me in public, like, are you really a doctor?
People ask you that.
Yeah. Countless times.
Interesting.
Countless times.
I never would have thought that anybody wouldn't be convinced you're a doctor. I thought it was pretty convincing.
I think the only thing left is for me to walk around with my MDCN certificate. Yes, I am. Is this proof enough?
Did you always know that you wanted to be a doctor?
No.
When did you decide, I really want to be a doctor?
So let's say I was a victim of, not a victim, because I don't like that term.
I think I know what you're about to say.
Let's just say I bent to the societal standards of my time.
That's why I'm laughing, because I have the exact same story.
Initially, when I was growing up, I told my mom I wanted to be a musician.
This is true.
Yes. And she wound ahead of her body and said, over my dead body.
Never
Never going to happen as long as I'm alive. And Popsy had this book growing up, where there is no doctor.
Love that book.
I still do.
We had it in my secondary school library. Such a great book.
I still do. And a lot of what I'm doing right now is actually inspired from that book, looking back, right? Because it brought medicine, made it very relatable.
Yeah,
You know, because where there is no doctor, literally, what can you do where there is no doctor?
Yeah.
So first aid techniques, you know, things people can do. It made medicine very relatable. I know I read that book from cover to cover.
Yeah.
Also, my dad wanted to be a doctor. But somehow he just never had that chance.
Yeah.
And so my house was filled with medical books.
Bless him.
Yeah, and I read it from cover. So getting into university, I think there was no other choice, so to speak, because it was become a doctor or do maths. And I hated maths, by the way. So...
fellow maths hater.
Yeah. I despise it.
Yeah.
I think hate does not describe.
It doesn't describe how it makes you feel.
It doesn't. But I loved physics, which was funny.
Which was interesting.
Because physics explained the world, but just maths did not. It just made the world a little bit more
you just
complex.
expect me to follow this formula because you tell me to? Like, what's that?
Yeah, so getting to university was medicine, you know. And getting through it, I actually enjoyed it because it kind of replaced physics for me because he explained how the human body works.
Yeah.
And I loved that. Yeah, so...
That book thing you said, you know, is so funny because I came across that book while I was in secondary school and I loved it. I was so happy to go to the library because I knew that I couldn't take it away from the library. So I always went back to the library to read it and I loved it. And if I didn't hate math so much and I didn't think that I needed maths to become a doctor, I probably would have become a doctor actually. But I think that, and I like that now that, you know, guidance counseling is a lot better than it used to be when we were kids.
Yeah.
But it was, hello, if you don't know maths, just go to law class. Don't bother.
Would you say that guidance counseling has become better? Because I still strongly believe that we've become our parents.
Of course, some people are, but I think we're a bit better in the sense that
because now it's tech.
So yes, we've got our parents now it's tech, but we're better in the sense that we say, okay, I have to sign you up for extracurricular. You must do music. You must do football. We know that you don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer. We are actually helping you look up things that people are making money doing, rather than.
Do you think it's because, quote unquote, being doctors and lawyers are no longer seen as profitable?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Probably.
So we've become our parents, just in a different direction.
True.
Like tech, I'm projecting Mbappe.
True.
Before the child can walk, we'll give him a football.
But I also see parents saying, what do you want to do?
Okay.
Like that, we never had that conversation. I said to my mom, I remember when I was filling my university form and I was like, Mom, I really want to study psychology. She's like, what would you do with that?
You told your mom you wanted to study psychology.
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. I have that conversation with her.
I think I still have PTSD because my head just became the African parent. I'm looking at you like, why?
She was like...
Now, though, I would probably have a difference.
Of course.
Yeah.
She was like, I think you should study law. Law has bits of psychology in it anyway. She convinced me that, you do psychology modules while you're studying law.
Or they conned you
Still waiting.
For the psychology modules.
Still waiting. In fairness to her, I think she was doing what she thought was best for me, which is, you don't know maths. Just... But I completely get what you mean with the whole we're becoming our parents thing, but hopefully we can, get better and do some things they do.
Self-aware.
Yeah, be more self-aware. So, we know how you ended up studying medicine and, how you fell in love with medicine. What was it about when you were studying medicine? Did you have a particular special? What kind of doctor are you?
General practitioner, public health physician.
Did you always want to be a general practitioner? Like, what kind of doctor did you want to be?
No, I wanted to be a surgeon. I loved working with my hands. I could pride myself when I was doing my housemanship as having one of the best teachers you could ever see.
Funny, I remember when I asked you about this, you said that, and what I had imagined is you wanted to be a plastic surgeon. So it was funny when you said you wanted to be a surgeon.
Surgery, yeah,
I was like,
surgeon.
this is exactly what I imagined you might have wanted
Surgery.
to do. But
I mean, if I had gone the clinical route completely, I'd probably be one plastic surgeon somewhere.
yeah, making a lot of money because it's like there's plenty of money. Speaking of plastic surgery,
Yeah.
seeing as you're a doctor and it's your, it's your job to mind our business, medical business for us. What do you think about plastic surgery?
Wonderful innovation from medicine.
100%
However,
agree.
plastic surgery in Nigeria needs a lot of regulation.
Agreed.
And the reason is there are certain people who are not even plastic surgeons who do one or two courses. Okay, I'm probably going to get dragged in trouble for this. But there are some doctors who do one or two courses online and then say they are plastic surgeons. You are not a plastic surgeon.
Somebody really do that.
Yeah. You take one or two models and all of a sudden you're a plastic surgery. Plastic surgery as I know it, except it has changed, and I'd like to be wrong about this, is you go through medical school, you do your residency, you do your senior residency, and then you fight your way to become a consultant. And even when you're a consultant, there are subspecialties.
Yeah.
So you can't just wake up without residency and the rest of it and say you did one or two models and you probably intern one or two places and then all of a sudden you're a plastic surgeon. Because then you have people do ridiculous things like get one, do one surgery, get another one free, bring one to my shop, get another person to I think that just lets you understand how very unregulated it is. And because of that, people are putting their lives in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
For example, the Brazilian butt lift has the highest risk ever
I don't think
of
people
every
have that
surgery in the world.
information.
Yes, the highest risk ever.
So high risk.
It's so high risk. And one of the reasons because during the forceful insertion of fat into the person's butt, there is a very large blood vessel there. One small fat lobe could get in there and travel up the way to your lungs or your heart, and that person is a goner.
The end.
Exactly. So you need some bit of training, which is beyond one or two courses online to become a plastic surgeon.
Yeah. I mean, I hope we finally get to the point where people are. I think it's also, and don't get me wrong, I think plastic surgery is great, and depending on what you're having plastic surgery for. For example, I've had plastic surgery, but not the kind that you're thinking. Get your mind out of the gutter. I had to have my earlobe repaired because we genetically have very weird earlobe tissue that is very easy to split or rip, and I had it repaired, and I actually did it in Nigeria. And I remember sitting in the surgeon's office. So first of all, I had my doctor friend recommend a plastic surgeon. Not just any kind of doctor friend. My doctor friend who worked with the HMO, so he knows all the hospitals where they have high rates of patients having problems and stuff. So I knew he was the guy to ask. But also I sat in front of the pastor and I was like, I'm so sorry, sir, I don't mean to be rude, but can I see your license? I just want to see that you're an actual plastic surgeon, not just someone who has decided to branch off into this. And please don't take this the wrong way, but I'm just trying to protect myself. And I'm like, I'm just going to remind you again that I'm a lawyer, just saying.
Even if you take it the wrong way.
Just saying that we don't want this to go wrong. But I think it's important to have plastic surgery, but I also think that it's one of those things that is a double-edged sword.
Before, I think there was first reconstructive surgery. So people got through accidents.
That's where I was going. Before it became this thing of everybody. Yeah. And then you see young people who have not even tried to work with what God has given them, and they're already going to fix it. I'm like, relax. Relax. No doctor can ever they can never be God.
I think there is even a risk of having body dysmorphia.
Exactly. Because it will never be perfect.
Touch up this part and then doesn't look exactly right. You go touch up the other part. Not exactly what I wanted. Before you know what's happening, the person has gone through so many procedures that at some point it even becomes risky to add another one on top of it. So there is that risk. And I believe that one of the jobs of the doctors and the surgeons is to really let people understand what the risks are. because at the end of the day, if they don't get it with a qualified person, they'll go to the unqualified person
Yeah.
who's ready to give them what they want. I've seen it happen so many times.
Yeah. It's crazy, and hopefully less people would, have permanent health issues or lose their lives to plastic surgery. And hopefully more people would realize that, look, we're all, none of us looks perfect, and you just need to live with it.
I think it's just societal standards.
Yeah.
We need to work on those things.
We do. We really do. And I think things like trolling people online.
Yeah, growing up, you could never see a dark person on a billboard.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Never.
a whole thing.
Yes.
And
Skincare was whitening.
yeah, always. And even when they're advertising something that isn't whitening, they find
They find the brightest person. Yeah. Find the brightest person in the room.
I'm like, why do we do this? But I now that I'm older, I realize that some of that is from leftover slavery trauma. I had this conversation with my brother, and he was like, I can't believe I used to think that yellow girls were somewhat cuter. He's like, it's slave mentality. It's slave mentality. Because why would you think that somebody is more beautiful because they're light-skinned?
It's just that. I think it's just that standard that was perpetrated over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see even movie roles where...
Yes.
Really?
So that colorism thing, I feel like we didn't get rid of the last of it.
Yeah.
Because, of
Still there
course,
somewhere.
after the slave masters left, there were some of us who looked obviously different from the others. The people who, their ancestors made babies with the slave masters.
Which is bound to
Now,
happen. Human beings are
inevitable.
sexual beings.
Exactly. Inevitably. They now look different from us. And, I guess there's a way you can make people feel like they're better than you. And, of course, when you're used to, the superiority that Oyinbo people brought to us, you would feel like, oh, because these people have, maybe 1% of their Oyinbo blood, they're somewhat finer than you or better than you. I'm just like, no. It's not even real, but yeah. Anyway, next thing I wanted to ask was, do you still see patients?
No, I do. On my own time. However, I'm going to have to confess less and less as the days go by.
I'm sure.
And I think because there are different areas of medicine.
Yeah.
It's behavioral change communication for one, which is what I do. I'm interfacing with the public. It's also draining. I would dare say I work, I don't want to put a number to it, but I could dare say 10 times harder now that I was doing clinical medicine.
Because you're not only seeing your patients, you're
millions of people.
Yeah.
Right? And it comes with its own perks, also comes with its own comes with its own demands. There's a lot of responsibility right now on my shoulder than with just one patient, right? And so because of how daunting it is, sometimes I really get, what's the word?
Burnout?
There's burnout, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the word triggered. Really get triggered when people downplay my work into, he's a social media doctor. And that happened a lot. Sometimes it still does, but I've noticed it only happens with people who want to disparage what you're doing. And also because they don't understand it, right? Medicine has always been, quote unquote, called a noble profession. And we think that nobility means sitting uptight with a tie around your neck and a stethoscope, walking like you have a stick up your anal canal. And I'm not going to speak French, but and to us, that's what nobility meant.
Yeah, of course.
There's the sacrificial part of nobility, but nobody talks about that.
Yeah, nobody talks about it. Absolutely no one.
When you now see this person who is online and trying to make medicine as relatable as possible, why are you degrading medicine to that?
Like,
forgetting
you're
that
preaching to the choir.
forgetting that there are quite a lot of people whose lives have been impacted.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think I was opportune to leave the country a while ago, and I was shocked. Even in New York, on the streets of New York, I met people who say, "Oh, I'm familiar with your content, and I love it. You know, you're actually helping me understand medicine."
Oh.
I'm like, but there are thousands of people making almost the same content as I do. Why mine? You know, I go to Senegal, same thing. I go to Ghana, the same thing. I go to Kenya, the same thing. And that's when I realized that it's not just in my small fair anymore. It's a lot larger than I think it is. So it's a lot of responsibility, because right now there are things I want to say that I cannot really say.
Oh my God. Like, you're preaching to the choir again.
Yes. And because there's lawyer here. So
no, I can relate.
I cannot really say it, because somebody could take that out of context and it's a whole new ball game. Like, you find yourself fighting a different war. So sometimes even before those videos are made, we have to cross-check and check again. And, you know, yeah.
I can 100% relate, you know.
Sometimes I think of opening a burner account.
Funny you should say that, because I've thought about that once or twice. Not to troll people, but there's sometimes you want to say things exactly how they are.
You won't say things without feeling.
And then because it's you saying it.
Sometimes not because what is being said, it's because it's you saying it.
You'll now say, oh, you're picking on this person, or you're trolling. And we're very anti-trolling, so we know we're not trolling. We know we're just being honest. There's so many times something has happened, you know, there's something in the news, and, you know, a bunch of people DM me and be like, oh, are you not going to comment on this? No, I'm not. I don't have to comment on anything, please, on everything. Please leave me alone. But I'm like, oh no, but we really need to hear what you think. No, you don't. Don't disturb me, please. Because if I tell you what I really think, or if I tell you what the law really says about this, or, you know...
We'll probably have issues. And then there's also the emotional aspect of it. You know, sometimes I don't like to comment on issues when the emotional environment is everywhere. Because people tend to misread, misinterpret, missee, you know, probably just scan through it. Oh, guns blazing. Before you come out of that, the damage has probably been done.
Yeah. That's so...
You're not start writing Apple notes, iPad notes, explaining and...
right, typing apology. I'm so sorry that you took my words out of context, but that's not what I meant. Yeah, no, it's one of those things where, like, you know, the information or the knowledge that we're sharing is vital. I mean, why else would we be sitting here having this conversation, you know, doing this interview, when we could be having lunch and just chatting away?
Yeah, I would actually have preferred lunch.
I would have preferred it as well, honestly. But, you know...
Like, I'm craving salad and tuna right now.
I mean, we can always work on that after. I'm not bribing you, I promise. But, but kidding aside, I feel like there's a pressure that comes with, like, you know, having a passion for passing knowledge across. And sometimes you can't say everything that's on your mind anymore. But somehow some people still think your work is less important because you're on social media.
Yeah, Thunder is going to fire them.
Yeah. They deserve that.
No, literally.
They really deserve it. And some people, you know, but again, I feel like that's not our target audience, so it doesn't bother me anymore. You know, people
I was just about to say that.
People that think that you're less, you know, think I'm less of a lawyer because, you know, information I should be charging you for, by the way. You know, things that if they sat in front of you in a hospital will cost them a lot of money.
I was just about to say that.
On the internet, because of that, they're disrespecting you.
So recently I got, quote unquote, what they call dragged, right?
I must have missed this.
Oh yes, very, very recently. And it was because of my post on the risk of UVA dryers.
Oh
yeah.
I saw that post, and I knew that people would not take it very well.
Yes, because, you know, you might not like it.
But it's not a lie.
It's my job to tell you.
It's not a lie.
Right? And I noticed that the dragging came from a particular sect of people.
Before.
And I like to clarify it whenever I go on shows like this, The reason is sometimes when I get those negative comments, some people say, you're getting negative comments simply because you're averse to feedback. I understand feedback perfectly. Okay, maybe not perfectly, but
I get what feedback is.
I get what feedback is.
It's different from trolling or dragging.
And sometimes because I may not even need to have a personal relationship with you in order to take your feedback constructively or to expect you to give it constructively.
Yeah.
But in what people say, I can read in between the lines when my emotions are a bit calmer, right? But I've noticed that the trolling or the dragging, quote and unquote, have come from a particular sect of people. And this sect of people do not need the information I'm given simply because they have a doctor's number on speed dial, probably. It's very possible they make a single call and the hospital is at their home. There are people like that. They don't need Aproko doctor's content. So it's very easy. Block him and move on. But there are people who sit in the marketplace. The only doctor they probably know is not even the one in the general hospital close to them because they probably have less than 10 minutes with the man or the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily because he or she is a bad doctor, but because they can't afford the time. So, you know what? Let's just move on to the next. Let's just, because if we continue, we're probably not going to leave here. But I still stand by what I said. Thunder.
No, I don't know why people get upset about stuff like this because it's not like you sat in your house and made the information up. There's a whole risk of UVA exposure and, I'm a nails babe. So when I first got the information, I was like, okay, this is something to take seriously. And yes, there's some places where they give you some sunscreen and some places they use the other kind of nail dryers. But everyone's trying to get in and out of the shop now and they're using, the ones that have harmful rays and, whether or not...
And then it's a nail bed, which is a fast-growing type of cell. And UV rays, fast-growing type of cell, bad combination.
Combo. But I think sometimes we need to look at the information. If you don't like the person's face, just close your eyes. But listen to what they're telling you.
There are people I honestly don't like.
Yeah.
Not because they're bad people. They probably just rub off on me wrongly.
Wrong way. That happens, yeah.
When I meet people like that, mute. Move on. I don't go trying to, quote and unquote, throw stones at the person and trying to disparage them in public. I don't like to do that. Probably because, I'm also in the public myself and I kind of understand what it feels like, especially if the person is really trying to do good. It's just not rubbing off me the right way.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah. I think people just sometimes need to hear what they're being told and not be so focused on and not think everything is, an attack on you. What's your beef with UV rays or nail shops? Obviously.
It was condescending,
obviously,
so to speak.
If it's not sorry, what was condescending? Cancer is condescending.
Oh, no. They said message was condescending.
Skin cancer is condescending.
I was told to eschew condescension. I'm like, really? Another person came up and they said, when would male doctors stay out of female business? And I'm like, there's literally Emeka and Nkechi for a reason.
It's so funny because I think you actually drag guys more.
I drag Emeka more.
Yeah.
When he doesn't sit up, I drag him more.
You've done so many videos directed at men where men are in the comments are like, you're a traitor.
Yeah.
Why are you telling them all this? So many videos telling women to, protect themselves. Don't let these guys deceive you. So I don't know. The one time
but then
you
again,
tell them,
personal bias. It's personal bias. They don't like you. So whatever you...
I don't know why I would be offended that somebody is telling me that I should protect my nails or my nail bed or my hands, that skin cancer and that thing they're using to dry your nails.
What I love is that at the end of the dragging, you are sure aware.
You sure hear. You can't say they didn't tell you.
You are sure aware.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can't say you were not warned.
So
these are the issues.
And then one final feedback that I loved about was there was now an increase. People were walking into their nail stores and the nail salons were giving them sunscreen. Some people were offering fingerless gloves.
Yeah. That's important.
It works.
It does. And so that you can sleep at night.
Yeah.
Knowing that.
Maybe I should find the work on NTA so that they'll take me seriously.
Maybe you should.
I think that phone screen is the problem.
Maybe.
Let's go on
Yeah,
NTA.
I think there's something that emboldens, something about phone screens that emboldens people. Things that they could never say to you, to your face. They say it in your comment section, but that's one of the downsides of social media. But we can't throw it away because it still does so much good.
Yeah, does so much good. Double-edged sword.
So next thing I wanted to ask was, how do you juggle everything? Because, obviously you give us content regularly. I always say, every time someone talks about people that, are constantly putting out content, and I don't understand how, because I'm like, it's not like you're somebody's husband, you have other things going on and you still somehow manage to constantly put out content. So how do you juggle everything? I know you want to say time management. I know you want to talk about having a team, but do you ever get tired? Do you ever just want to run away? Of course it's not easy. I know it's not easy. Even if you lie to me, even if you sit here and tell me it's easy, me, I know it's not easy because I struggle to juggle everything.
I'm not even going to do Perspire to Aspire to recover the container. There are times I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Content. Okay.
I don't.
I just said now only me.
Like at this point, no. No, so you're fine, really. They'll be fine without you.
Yes,
I mean, there are other people who are, but you're all right. But somehow I find myself still doing it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think in the beginning, there's that weight of responsibility. Responsibility is a weight.
It is.
Yeah, it's just one of the things you have to carry because you've seen the things you do actually make a difference in someone's life, and that just keeps you going. Especially in difficult times. I mean, there are times when I've been shooting and I heard one of the worst news of my life, and I just continued shooting like nothing had gone on. I just kept going at it, right? So it's not easy. There are certain things I now do to make it easier for myself, which is getting a team involved. So there's someone whose job is to shoot, record.
What? This is an Aproko watch.
Apparently recorded everything I said. Yeah. So there's someone whose job is to record. There's another person whose job is to edit. There's another person whose job is to come up with ideas. But the bulk of the work still remains, I still have to do the research.
You still have to show up.
Yes. I still have to show up. I still have to, determine how convenient it is, make the really big decisions, right? But I wish I could say time management, but yeah, it's not like time management. Some people say work-life balance. I don't believe there's work-life balance. I believe there's work-life integration. I think there's no difference between my work and my life at this point.
I was going to say, it's just life balance.
It's just life, You just have to find a way, because when you try to separate your work and your life and then you're trying to balance it, it's probably a sign that you're doing something you don't enjoy. And I really enjoy this, right? Some people have asked me, would you do this over and over? I say yes. Over and over again, like 1,000 times over, because doing it actually gives me purpose. Like I can see the impact I'm making on the world. It might be in my small corner, but it's impact, and for me, that's enough fuel I need.
That's amazing. If you had to say, one or two things that you have learned, since, you've been doing content and you've managed to sort of, make it a source of income or make a business out of it. If you had to sort of talk about lessons you've learned, what expo can you give people who are trying to become a household name like Aproko Doctor?
The first expo I'll say is first to stop is a bastard. And the reason I say that is because consistency is actually key.
Now give up, mess up.
Now, you see, now give up.
Please tell them how long ago your first video was and how many views it had.
Oh, yeah. First video, 2015. Yes, 2015, first video. The people that saw that video, my mother, my father, and my 72 friends on Facebook.
Oh, bless them. Bless your friends
Yeah.
for watching.
They watched it. They probably castigated or, dragged me on Facebook, but I didn't stop. There were times when I would sneak into the DMs of really popular people as at that time and beg them for a repost and, ask them to please, just check it out. You might like it. I was sharing CV up and down. This video is going to change the lives of people. May I believe it? Just help your people see it. Yes, of course. Not everybody's going to take it seriously at that time. But like I said, first to stop, na bastard. Consistency would actually pay you a lot more than giving up because it looks like things are not working out.
You have it all figured out.
Yes, I like to describe it as a tree. When you plant a seed in the ground, the initial phase of the growth, you don't see it because then it's growing inside. The roots are taking shape. It's in those periods of difficulty that you actually realize what it takes to get to where you're going. That's where you build grit. I think that's the word I've been looking for, grit. It's like, I can't give up on this thing.
Yeah.
It either works or it works. There's no yes or no. Plan A, plan B. No, this is only plan. And that now brings me to the second piece of advice. You really have to be sure about what you're doing. Nobody else in your life has to be as convinced about what you're doing than you yourself.
Word. I always tell artists this. You have to drink your own Kool-Aid.
Exactly.
Not to the point of arrogance, but you need a certain level of confidence. Otherwise, you can't convince people that you're good if you don't believe that you're good.
You need a certain level of confidence.
Yeah.
I can't always be looking for motivation from other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are certain people who can survive without motivation. If you need motivation to do what you're doing, I don't think you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
You need discipline. Because the road is far. Hey, Lord Almighty, the road is far. Because we keep looking at people right now, and when they give us throwbacks, we're shocked because we think they just dropped from nowhere. And you realize that this person has been in this music video 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I recently listened to this lady's story. I'm trying to remember her name. The one who has a baby voice. She could make up baby voices.
Oh, Helen Paul.
Helen Paul. And found out that, she voiced P-Square's video. I'm like, really?
She's like a voice magician.
You were a part of my childhood? And discipline. See, motivation is important, but motivation is not what you need. You need discipline. You need consistency. And one of the biggest lessons I learned this year is you need people. So I'm guessing that's 3 advices. People. Because it depends on what you're really trying to achieve. If what you're trying to do is big, you can't do it alone. I promise you. Anything you do all by yourself is probably not worth believing in. I probably don't want to get interested in that. So anything you do that requires motivation as its fuel is probably not important enough. You need to be sure. And then people are important. It was one of the biggest lessons I learned this year. I learned it the hard way though, but people are important. No matter what you're doing, connect with people, find people. Just big things are carried by more than one person.
Yeah, that I know some people struggle with delegating. Some people struggle with letting people in, but if you're trying to achieve big things, you have to sort of learn to, rely on people a bit, both in your personal and work life, I think.
I agree.
I think some people are loners by nature.
I also feel that some people are loners because they haven't broken free from trying to prove themselves. I was in that phase once, I have to prove that I can do this. And the more I proved that I could do it, the more I was burnt out. So right now, I just get the brilliant minds. You, let's talk. I don't care if I'm not the best designer in the room. That's not my business. That's not what I'm trying to achieve. If that's important to you, fine. Be that in this group. What are we trying to get? This is it. How do we get it? And
Yeah.
it was like a hack that works.
And I know sometimes people say that, you know, what if you can't afford, what if you can't afford help but I think that that's just excuses, because there's always somebody who is happy to barter with you for something else.
Yep.
So they might barter with you. Okay, you can't pay me. Get me 5 people who can pay me. Get your 5 friends to hire me if you don't have money to give me.
You know,
Or-
we have gotten so bad as a society that we think that the only value is money.
Yeah.
Oh, why have you got to your dream done? Money. Oh, why investors? Like, can we lay off money for a beat?
Yeah.
You know, and just focus on other things, which is why some people give you their time, and we don't think it's valuable
anything.
enough, simply because
That's
you know.
what I was about to say. It's just that sometimes when you give people your time, they don't take you seriously. They take advantage of you.
Exactly. So
it's-
right now, I only give my time to people who actually value it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's if you don't have the money to hire the people, then you should really get good at selling your dreams. Convince people to believe. Like, I
Yeah.
think we're just going back to the same, because
Yeah,
you need people want to believe in things that are bigger than they are.
yeah.
Find a way to convince the next person. Sell that dream to the next person until that's everything they breathe out of their bones.
Yeah.
And then they'll sell it to other people. I mean, the first people that ever worked with me basically ran on dreams for the first part. You know, we believed in something and we're going to get it, you know. And when it looked like everything was, you know, getting in place, it was now easier to convince other people.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I do. Final question before you leave. I mean, some people who watch your content or who are like, you know, who follow you know this, but for the people that don't, you recently had a really, really, I think health scare is putting it mildly. I think health scare is putting it mildly, but you know, you recently went through something very, very intense. And how did you? I know this, but for the people who don't, how did you work through that? You know, mentally and emotionally, but also how did you manage to still not stop putting out content? Because a lot of people didn't know anything had happened until like well after. Because like it's not like we missed any content. And how did you, you know, still have the zeal or to still be like, okay, this is still important. I still need to prioritize this. Because a lot of people be like, okay, I'm going to take a leave of absence because what? So like, how did you still, okay, these people, their content is still important.
We'll go back to weight of responsibility again.
Yeah. I thought about it just as I was asking you.
I know deep down that my work is important.
Yeah.
That's first. Secondly, on the day I found out that I had a tumor in my head, I was preparing to host an event. I was supposed to give a health talk. That's the ironic part of it. It was supposed to be a health talk to people. Oh, take care of your health. These are the things you need to do and the things you should avoid. And before that day, I had noticed that some part of my eye felt funny. I think it was my left eye initially. And I had some time to myself on the morning of the 3rd. It was my mother's birthday, so we had just spoken and wished her happy birthday. We said we're going to talk later. And that was it. So I had some time to myself. I said, okay, let me just go somewhere that is very quiet and really examine myself by myself. And when I put my hand over my left eye, that felt funny. I realized when I put my hand over my right eye, just to see what was wrong with my left eye, I realized that I was completely blind in the left. I ran down to the person who was the host of the event and I told him, I said, bruh, I really need to leave. If this event can start now, I would love it. And he said, why? I said, I'm blind in my left eye. And I'm pretty sure he looked at me.
He probably thought you are making that up.
Exactly, When he confided in me, he actually thought I was making it up.
Yeah, because you look like those cool as a cucumber people that...
No. I would not panic.
That would I would freak out.
I would not.
Maybe not like screaming because obviously there are people there. You know, everyone asking you. But I would be like,
I was cool. I was talking to him directly, and I said, "Bro, I'm blind in my left eye," and he was like, "Really? You are? Like you can't see out of your left eye now?" I'm like, "Yes. Can this event start now?" And so he moved a few things around. I got to speak. I was speaking, I was battling with the fact that I couldn't see from my left eye. But in my head, I had probably said, it's probably increased pressure in the eye. I will sort that out. I drove back, called my wife. I said, I'm blind in my left eye. I called my best friend, I'm blind in my left eye. They all panicked, came to the hospital where I was at that point, and I told them, check my eye pressure. They did. Said, eye pressure is fine. I said, okay, check the retina. They checked the retina. That's like the film. Sensor. They checked the retina. I said retina is fine also. Immediately I knew it was a tumor in the head. Either a tumor or a space occupying lesion. I did a scan. All this before I got to see a doctor. I did a scan and it showed. It was like, yeah, there's something there somewhere. I was like, oh, that's it. We're battling. I was struggling to see after then because it just kept getting worse and worse. It was difficult for me to see. And we fixed the date for the surgery. It was supposed to be on the 5th, but somehow it just got pushed until the 18th. And so between the 5th and the 18th, I called my team together and I said, we need to shoot videos for a month. And they said, okay, boss, let's do it. And so we sat down. At some point, I couldn't see the camera. Because then I was becoming sensitive to light. It was difficult to see. So we couldn't see, but I just kept shooting. A lot of people went back to watch the videos that were released in the month of December and could not tell that I was blind in my eyes.
I went back to watch. Because I was like, what is he talking about?
So to cut the long story short, I mentioned that one of the biggest things that helped me during that period were the relationships. That was when I realized, see, it's not just hustle. Build healthy relationships with people. Because at that point, all the things I had done in that before then did not matter anymore. It wasn't the amount of followers. It wasn't the amount of subscribers. It wasn't the amount of impact I was having in the world. It was the people who slept on a couch waiting for me to recover. It was people who shared the same hospital room with me. It was people who left their businesses to come and be with me. It was people who held my hand and said it was going to be fine. It was my wife who I basically was an asshole to throughout the period of my recovery, because at some point in recovery, I couldn't even talk. So there was also that fear. You've built your career on talking. What happens now? So people are important. That's the everything out of this.
Long and short of it.
People helped me.
But you know when you've heard a story before, but there's still something. Every time you hear it, there's still something to hear. Like still something to learn from it. But thank you for sharing again.
Thank you.
And thank you for making our time, to do this.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
This was important. And where can they find you on social media for the people who don't know already? If you're not following this guy, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
Please subscribe
to
my
media.
YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube. It's just Aproko Doctor.
Yes.
That's
YouTube.
all I want. Subscribe to my YouTube. Like, comments. Where this coming year, I think in 2024, one of the things that we're trying to do is actually to break into the African audience. And one thing that's going to help is if, the YouTube channel is actually growing as much as it will. That would also help us get high quality people on the channel. So YouTube, Aproko Doctor.
So
Please
does this mean that
subscribe.
we're going to be seeing a lot of Ukirikiri?
Yeah, so Kiri is coming back. Let me know that it's hard. It's hard.
Of course it's hard.
It's hard.
Of course.
But we'll find a way to bring Okirikiri back. 2024, there's a movie coming up.
Yay.
It's a health-based movie.
Yay.
We want to look for other means to really educate people, to put into their daily lifestyle. We need to make sure that health is like right in front of them. You can't ignore it. As long as I'm alive, you can't ignore health. As long as I'm alive, you know, we'll make that happen.
And God is going to keep you for us, so that we cannot ignore health.
Yeah.
But so you told us where you're on YouTube, on Instagram,
Instagram,
Facebook?
Aproko Doctor, Facebook, Aproko Doctor,
Are you on TikTok?
TikTok, Aproko Doctor. The only thing I'm not going to do on TikTok is dance, but I keep putting video there. Whether they decide
Are
to
you
focus on the
sure
video, I'm not
you
going to
learn
dance.
one or two dances.
I am not going.
Well,
I'm not
that
going.
is what TikTok is for.
I am not going to dance. If there was something that, you know, when I was being created, I was missed out was dancing. I think I skipped out of the line.
You missed the dancing gene.
I missed the dancing gene.
Don't worry, you're in good company. It's okay. Dancing is not really.
Two left
I wouldn't
legs.
say it's one of my fortes either.
Yeah. Once I'm sitting down, the moves in my head. As soon as I stand up on my feet, moves Otilo gone. At most, what you're going to get is three seconds of rhythmic motion. After then, it's finished.
Chaos.
Your legs are just
I always
jumbling
say those
into
of us
each
that
other.
cannot dance, your best bet just stay seated.
You
and
get, you know,
if you stand, secret out. So let's just
out.
stay seated. Nobody needs to know.
Once they drag you up to come and dance, go and urinate immediately.
No, I never fall for that.
Yeah. Once they drag you up,
I don't
just
say-
like you guys, just go to the bathroom.
Please excuse me. That's what I always. I'm coming. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
And
Anytime.
this was such a great episode, and even I can't wait to watch it back because there was so much to talk about. You want to keep watching because there's such great content coming. You also want to go find him on social media, follow. You always think that there's nothing new to learn, but there's always something new to learn. So, you know, and subscribe, comment on our videos, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.